Hey everyone, this is The Slant with Ryan Ritchie. This is just the third episode. Just a little background. I know we're kind of starting out with some really short episodes. Going to get longer, but right now, you know what, I'm just trying to figure out how to do the podcast and get it uploaded and all that stuff. But anyway, I thought about starting a podcast right before COVID, and what I was going to talk about was ultra running. And I think I'm still going to do some podcasts on ultra running. For those of you who don't know what ultra running is, it's running anything basically that's over 31 and a half miles roughly. It's not really 31 and a half, but I've done, multiple races. I've started a 100-mile race. I made it like 66.7 miles. I didn't finish, but hopefully I can get back to that. I did have knee surgery about a year ago. Still haven't really fully recovered, so I'm not even running right now. But anyway, I wanted to start the podcast. Then what happened next was COVID hit, and I just kind of fell away from it, didn't do anything. But here I am, trying to do something different. I'm not running, so I'm taking my time up with something else. So, to get into the show a little bit, this isn't going to be a real long one, maybe 5 minutes. One thing I want to talk about is going back to the election and the Democrats and how to tell when they lie. So all of you know, for the last 3.5 years, everyone knows Joe Biden's taglines, right? So Joe Biden will say things like, here's the deal. No joke. No lie. I'm not joking. You've all heard it 100 times, but every time he says that, what follows him is a lie. He has to lead up to it. So it's a tagline. You know, when he hits that tagline, here comes the lie. And if you hadn't seen it yet, and I don't really like Saturday Night Live lately. I used to like it back 15 years ago. But Dana Carvey did a great impersonation of Joe Biden on Saturday Night Live. And I'll tell you what, you know the Democrats are in trouble when even the mainstream Saturday Night Live is making fun of Joe Biden. And they're making fun of Kamala Harris too. And it's hilarious. So if you haven't seen it, you need to watch that. So now to Kamala Harris. She doesn't have as many taglines, but the first thing she will say when she answers any question or starts any speech or really any paragraph of a speech is the word so. And when she says so, you know what's coming next. Sometimes she's not lying when she says so and follows it up with words. But she never really answers the question. What happens is she goes into this ramble where she just deflects. And then you can tell that she's searching for words. And she's thinking as she's trying to come up with something to say. But it never goes back to where she actually answers a question. She basically just wants to get the interviewer lost, get the crowd lost, and then leave it. That's the easiest thing for her to do. She doesn't have to answer anything. She tries to say things that make her sound important, and they don't. Not at all. Then she goes into deflection, where she starts blaming everybody else for everything that's happened in the last 3.5 years. And then you get this word salad, this huge deluxe word salad that just leaves you staring and wondering how many brain cells you just lost. And through all of this, there is no depth to her. There's no substance. There's no mass. This is a weightless candidate with nothing to bring to the table. It's just more or less a large cackling hot air balloon with no direction. It's just floating up there. It's not going anywhere. And then in the no depth, there is just nothing profound that she ever has to say. The only thing she does is sometimes she changes her accent based on the location she's giving a speech at. I know everyone's heard that. If you haven't, just get online. Just Google Kamala Harris speeches. Watch about 5. She's a different person in every single one. And she tries to come up with different accents just to appease whatever audience that she's talking to. This lady has no comprehension of the American voter needs. And remember that she and Biden make all the decisions together. Biden said that. Biden gives her credit for everything he's done. She's been right there with him. Well, what have they done? Man, they have high inflation for us all. That's wonderful. Gas prices are over $3 a gallon right now, but they were up, even where I live in Indiana, they were at $3.70. When you get into some of these other states like California, they were a lot higher than where they even are now. But I have seen prices start to slowly drop a little bit because the election is just really 2 weeks away. What else have they done that Biden gives her credit for? The border crisis. She, according to Joe Biden, was the border czar. And I know you've heard a lot of people talk about she's the border czar, and then you hear people say, no one ever said she's the border czar. But if you go back and look at all the mainstream media, when Biden announced it, everyone referred to her as the border czar. Now that the border's chaos, we have a crisis at the border. People from other countries are fleeing their countries, so they say, coming in here by the millions. The millions. We have no control of who's coming into this country. They get into this country, and I highly doubt we have any idea where they go. Once they're in, they're in. The last thing, and I'm going to touch more on this in a different episode, is crime. They're saying crime is down since 2022. But it's not down. The numbers are being hidden, and I'll bring some facts in another episode and explain how that works. So at the end of the day, we're going to pretend like the Kamala campaign is a meal. What you're going to get in that meal, you're going to get an appetizer, right? It's going to be an appetizer of the word so. And it's not going to be very good. Anytime something starts with the word so, you don't have a lot of expectations, right? So the appetizer, it's shit. It's not going to be good. Then your main course comes out, and you get this giant deluxe, huge giant plate of this giant deluxe word salad. You pick the plate up, and it doesn't weigh anything. There's no mass to it. There's nothing there, right? So you got this, those at Walmart, you go buy that giant plastic salad box with all that lettuce and all the different ingredients in it, and you think it's going to be so good. Well, this is kind of like that. You get this huge giant deluxe word salad, and you look at it, and maybe you think it's going to be good this time, right? And it's got all these sprinkles all over it. And we're going to call them cackle sprinkles. So you got cackle sprinkles, you got cackle croutons all over this salad. It's not filling. Like I said, there's no mass. It's weightless. There's nothing in it. So you're disappointed. Your appetizer was no good. The main course was no good. The deluxe word salad, you're never going to order that again, ever. So you're like, okay, maybe dessert's going to be good. So they bring out this big plate, and there's a piece of cake on it. This cake looks so good. You take a bite of it, and you stop, and you say to yourself, this isn't good. You ask the waiter or waitress, what kind of cake did you just bring in here? Oh, they said, this is a deluxe cackle cake. I'm like, what? A cackle cake? Yeah, so that's not a thing. Well, I know cackle cake isn't really a thing, but all I'm saying is there's nothing there. You need more than cackle cake, right, to win an election. You have to have some type of comprehension of the American voters of what they need. You have to have something of substance. You have to answer questions. I mean, if she can't answer questions to an NBC reporter, how is she going to deal with foreign countries? I don't see how any of that's going to work. But if you don't believe me, go out, get your so appetizer, get your deluxe word salad, and then get you some cackle cake. And if that's what you want, then these next 4 years, you eat that every single day and don't complain about it. Thanks for listening.